If you want me to spend 10 minutes laying out my criticism of Boris Johnson and another 10 or 15 minutes laying out my criticism of Nicola Sturgeon, I could do that, no problem. Personally speaking, I have a problem with both of them. But see, before we get to that, if you want me to get into a bit of the nitty-gritty about those two individuals, can I say something else, which is that this is why I see this debate developing. First of all, you've got the opponents of Boris Johnson, and they will take every opportunity to slag the guy off. Now, there's lots to criticise him about, don't get me wrong, but they will do anything to criticise him. You know, he will never get the benefit of the doubt. If you're the Guardian newspaper, the Mirror, the Labour Party, lots of other institutions, they will go for him every time. And then you get the flip side of that. So you get in the Tory papers today, like the Mail and the Express, having these articles about Nicola Sturgeon, and they're trying to slag her off. And so what we're into is the gotcha moment. So what we have is the level of debate has descended into farce and pettiness, and everybody's been disingenuous. And I'll be honest with you, I'm fallible. I'm a human being. I'm tempted to score a few cheap points as well. But I do want to say out loud, I think it's important to at least try to raise the level of political debate, because at the moment, it's going nowhere.
I completely agree with you. And actually, I think not only is it going nowhere, it goes around and around in circles. It's often a competition for who can be what I would call most low rent. I do, and I think actually as a nation, I look at some of the politicians that we have, and I think, quite frankly, we deserve better. I must make a caveat here. I'm among perhaps a minority. I personally don't want Boris Johnson to resign. I think that what he's done with this whole kind of cake thing, I know before you all shout at me about people that died and all the rest of it, I actually don't think that having a bit of cake or whatever, a gathering in your office when you've all been at work, I
Michelle,
don't actually think it's a sackable offence.
Just on that, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to score points, I agree with you in many respects. See, when it comes to Boris Johnson and the cake and all that, personally speaking, I'm sorry if it offends people, I don't consider it a big deal on the scale of things. But this is where there is a wee issue with Boris, and you can't get away from it. I'm a great believer in moral independence. And I've heard Boris Johnson talk about the importance of moral independence before. But what he did was, once he put in place those laws, which I thought were quite draconian in terms... Yeah. And so once you start restricting people's freedom, the problem with Boris is that he thought in Downing Street he could exercise his own moral independence in that situation. But when other people were doing it in their situations, some were criminalised. Now, this is me not scoring a cheap point. It's just to say that there is a real issue at stake. The problem is the difficulty in trying to have an honest conversation about what the problems are versus people basically scoring cheap points.